Mm-hmm.
So we're here, and it's time for Cape Escape Season 2. I hope everyone is excited to watch us figure this out in real time. I think everyone here at Null Playing is as nervous and as excited as everyone who is watching. So I think just before we get started, I wanted to say thank you, everyone, for watching, for following us. This is our third season. And we've been through the ringer. We started Cave Escape Season 1 as sort of a haphazard attempt to turn what would have been a home game into content, and we stumbled and fumbled our way into making a second season that I don't think any of us predicted we would have been able to make at the start, and that went great. And I think all of us had a really amazing time with Dead Laws, and we all got better at our craft and learned sort of more of the nuances of making content for people and playing tabletop games on the internet. So I'm so happy and grateful to be able to introduce everyone once again to the Null Playing Games table. My name is Toaster. I will be playing Sandals Bueller, a returning character from Cape Escape Season 1. It has been 7 years since we last saw our previous leads, and a lot has changed in that time. And I guess I'll hand it over to Keith, and we'll just go down the left side of the screen and then down the right side of the screen until we get to our Game Master Caw. So, Keith, introduce yourself.
Hi, still here.
Got fat.
Been 7 years, got fat.
Nice.
I like that I said got fat, and you heard top that.
I did. Sorry, language is just always in my head.
Exact vibe I was going for. No, I'm just terrified. That's the usual start.
Yeah, it's a good place to be for a Call of Cthulhu game.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm role playing.
Isn't playing any music, so we're just stuck here with just our quiet, sad voices every single time. It really amps up the anxiety when it's like, I'm scared, help.
If we want to go down the line, I guess I'm Loser Wall. I'm back, returning as Javier once again. Some people in the chat are pointing out that he looks like he's seen better days, and that's something you'll be finding out more about, I guess, as we play.
I am Marty. I was Grayson in Season 1. Coming back in Season 2 of Cape Escape, I am playing his son, Snapper Slycrest.
When you told us that you decided to just play his son, we were also stoked about that.
Yeah,
we had no idea. We knew he wasn't coming back.
So excited.
We knew he was a family man who wanted nothing to do with any of this shit. So when you pulled this on us, we were so stoked.
Like, my first thought about a sequel was, I'm like, why would you do that to Grayson?
I can't do that to Grayson. I could not do that to him.
He already lost his numbers. What more do you want?
Well, I was not in Season 1. My name is Horrorbuns, and I will be playing Dakota Myers, former magician, currently not a magician.
Currently employed as a big problem.
Yeah. He's very good at it.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm Ka. I get to control the music. Now then, welcome back, everyone. It is time for the long-awaited second season of Cape Escape here on Null Playing Games. This season features character and background art courtesy of the lovely Aeria Quies and the return of royalty-free music from everybody's friend, Kevin MacLeod.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks,
Kevin.
Kevin. Woo!
Big ups for Kev. This time around, we'll be using the Call of Cthulhu 7th edition system for a bit more crunch and complexity than we had in our first outing. Let's see just how long our talent here can hold on to their sanity. As a quick refresher for those who might have missed the first season or who might be a bit foggy on some of the details, because it has been a while. It's been almost a year since we finished.
That simultaneously feels like it happened. If you told me it has been 3 years since Cape Escape Season 1, I would be like, yeah, that was before the pandemic. What do you mean? Of course. That's crazy.
Woo. Back in Season 1, we had a group of influencers that were invited to an escape room themed event out in the desert, hosted by YouTube's biggest star at the time, Mr. Man. He bought out an entire ghost town and staged a series of elaborate puzzles and scavenger hunts throughout it, promising the winner the deed to the town itself, as well as really gaudy sponsor-branded Teslas to everyone who finished. But things quickly began to take a turn for the strange as the competitors and crew alike began to see visions of an impossible lighthouse and the dreadful creatures from the other side that came through it. In the end, 6 people ended up dead or missing after the events in Cape Karma, and the town itself was burnt to the ground. In an official capacity, it was regarded as a series of botched pyrotechnics that were responsible for this disaster, and Mr. Man himself ended up taking the blame, sent away to prison for 7 long years for his crimes. Now, we rejoin the survivors of that tragedy 7 years later, on the day of Mr. Man's imminent release from prison. And I think the most relevant person to begin with, to check in on, to see how they've been doing in the time since that disaster, we're going to find them in a truck stop bathroom about half an hour out from the prison at Cape Mendocino. Let's take a look at Jet. Far removed from the labors that kept him so fit and lean all those years ago, how's he been holding up?
Great. Jet's
He's doing swell.
Fantastic. Because this is the day. The birds are singing and the sun is up and everything's going to go great. And nothing could possibly ruin the day that he's been waiting 7 days for. So nothing else matters, and how those 7 years were spent don't matter, because there's music in the air. And it's like, gotta get up, gotta get out before the morning comes. And yeah, he's gonna go pick up his husband, and the story will then, the credits will roll, and that will be...
That's all that happens.
Yeah.
Nothing bad will happen.
Yeah. No, we all tuned in when made all this art for a happy epilogue to their perfect story.
Season 2,
15 minutes.
This is the Christmas special, actually. The ending, the epilogue of Cape Escape.
We fooled all of you.
The Christmas special where we checked in on Grayson having Christmas dinner with his family. That went over so well. We're doing a second one.
So being all fixed up for the prison warden and or whoever the fuck he expects to encounter, having definitely never thrown any food products at their front door over the past year, Jet is currently dressed how he thinks presentable gay people dress. So that today goes perfectly. And that's how this happened.
That's how the sweater vest with the button up and a nice pink tie. Oh,
yeah, that's how it works.
Such an ensemble. So, the coyote that stands before this mirror has made this trip before, out to Cape Mendocino, out to the prison. Dozens of times, actually. Every time they turned you away. You haven't so much as heard his voice in the last year, ever since they transferred him to this stupid little prison.
Uh-huh.
They said the conditions here were better, but they don't allow visitation. What's even the point then? Well, today's the day. Melvin's finally getting out. They didn't call you to come pick him up, but you've been counting the days. You're going to be there. It's been what you've been waiting for all this time, isn't it, buddy?
Uh-huh.
It's been 7 long, long years, and you're not going to let anything stand in your way. Not even the eyes.
What eyes?
Jet has eyes.
Meanwhile, on the long, winding approach up to the cliff-top prison where so many wretched souls are locked away, here at Cape Mendocino, we see a lone car navigating back and forth up the curvy thoroughfare. Sandals, what are we driving today?
Sandals drives a very modest, workman-like Porsche. Just like an everyday car, very typical. He does have a daily driver back home, a very nice electric model, but unfortunately, this is a little bit far away from where he normally lives. Sandals lives and works full-time on the East Coast, so he has flown out here, and he's had to stoop to using one of his cars from his vacation home. So he is just in, a good old dark blue. Yeah, just, the seats are heated, but they don't have adjustable lumbar, so it's a little bit of an unfortunate sacrifice, but he does what he can in order to function and do the work, because that's what he's here to do.
And how's he been doing for himself these past 7 years? Same old, or have there been some developments on his side of things?
Sandals is a very different person now. The events at Cape Karma changed him, not just in terms of trauma or in even direct relation to the things that he did there, but maybe the most important kind of change of all, which is changing how you see the world. To Sandals, the events of Cape Karma were a harbinger of a danger he never thought would be real, right? And for 7 long years, he has worked studiously and with a devotion basically uncanny to find a way to get to the bottom of the events that occurred there. Sandals has spent all 7 of his years amassing a fortune, bettering his body, and manipulating information in order to hunt down and potentially stop the mysterious Miss Potatoes who opened the events at Cape Karma, only to weirdly disappear from the public eye after the events, along with her company and employers. So in the time since that point, I think Sandals has made a lot of sacrifices. He still lives with his family, or in his family's hometown, I should say, providing for his community, volunteering, spending all of his waking hours on philanthropy and consulting work, which he does. He has a Fortune 500 company. He was in the Forbes 30 under 30. And even since that point, now he's 32. He is a very well-established member of the 1%. But he has done his best to use his interesting and new power in order to fund his nighttime activities, which is essentially as a information broker, as someone who is trying to investigate the paranormal, see places where the other side is thin, and potentially get in front of any more events that could possibly happen. So Sandals sleeps probably 2 hours a night. Sometimes he takes naps if he's lucky.
Does he do that thing where you sleep for 30 minutes 4 times a day?
Yes. Yeah, he sleeps in siestas, which is great for him. His resting heart rate is like 30. Maybe he's dying on the inside. Who could say?
He's on that Da Vinci shit.
Yeah. But he is otherwise a model citizen, picture perfect, does all the right things. But his relationships, I think, have, if not suffered, taken quite a backseat to the rest of his priorities. He tells himself that he does things for them. He's very motivated by his continued obligation to his parents and his love and reverence for them, but also his desire to make the world a better place for people like them, for people out in the world, and most importantly for Maven and Javi, who have sort of formed a family unit of sorts for him, as cold and distant and at odds as that can sometimes be.
Speaking of, you hear a ring come from your phone. It's that special ringtone that only she has. I'm pretty sure everyone else on your phone is just the vibrate setting.
Yeah, he reaches for the phone, which is probably in one of those like dashboard mounted holders stuck to the front. He picks it up and just says, "Hey."
You wait a moment, and you don't hear her voice. You're not sure if she's hesitating or what, but soon you look back at the phone and you see the little ... the failed to connect. Looks like the service isn't very good out here, but that's probably just as well. You probably don't want to talk to her about why you're here today, do you?
No, I think Sandals kind of stares at the phone. He's thinking about the reflex to answer every single time she calls. His constant repeated visits to prison to visit and bail out other people, which we'll get to in a bit. And he thinks about all of the times he has been in this exact situation before, alone on a road all the way across the country, from the one person in his phone book that ever actually matters, and the only person he ever looks forward to actually picking up phone calls from, no matter how cold and heated or distant yet combative that it can be. And he just sighs and he just tosses the phone into the passenger seat and says, "That's fine."
That is fine. Everything's going to be fine. Today marks the end of a long and painful series of distractions that I'm sure you'll be glad to have set behind you. The gates leading the way up to the prison open as you approach. They know well enough not to keep you waiting here.
I think his fingers are drumming on the steering wheel just as he's waiting, like he's counting the seconds, like he knows the road from here exactly how long it takes. And again, that feeling of going through the motions, sort of in a dissociative daze, as Maven fades from his mind and the distraction disappears again.
As that car disappears up the distance towards the prison, we see someone else on the outskirts here. Someone watching and waiting for the perfect opportunity to follow someone in. We see the slim, tall form of young Mr. Snapper Slycrest. Snapper, go ahead and describe yourself for us.
Absolutely. Snapper, he's doing pretty well for himself. He's been athletic through his high school years, taking seriously some of the track and field and weightlifting, but he's not bulky. He's just, tone, athletic. Because he doesn't want to be like his dad. Put on a couple of pounds there, especially in his retirement, not looking the best. But he's here today, and he's fidgety and anxious. Today's the day he finally gets to meet Mr. Man.
Oh, it sure is. You clutch in your hand a letter that was addressed to your father, but it was intercepted before it could reach him. You want to read this letter for us?
Absolutely. I gotta make it bigger.
Yeah.
Dear Mr. Slycrest, the Burning Reel Talent Agency would once more like to extend to you an offer to reprise your role as safety coordinator in an upcoming event, to be held at the Medium Security FCI Cape Mendocino on the evening of August 7th, 2030, to oversee the release from incarceration of one Melvin Mann. As you have not responded to any previous inquiries concerning your availability, this will be our final attempt to initiate correspondence. We understand if you harbor any grievances concerning the outcomes of our previous engagement, but we continue to stand behind the protections of the service contract signed by your former employer, and we appreciate your continued adherence to the non-disclosure agreement included therein. Signed 00000000.
Now, this struck you as odd when you intercepted it. Did Snapper bother to do any research following the acquisition of this letter?
Well, he definitely assumed that it had to be regarding Cape Escape, which is a topic that he is very familiar with. At least he thinks he's very familiar with. And those aren't zeros; those are O's.
That's right. Comparing them, both 0 and O appear elsewhere in that letter, and you were able to suss out that these are in fact O's, not 0, given the typography on display here.
Seems like perhaps 8 of them.
How about that? Now, what did Snapper do after he got this letter? Did he come straight here, or did he make a pit stop first?
Oh, he made a pit stop. His pit stop was, in fact, Cape Karma.
Oh, what an interesting location to take a breather at.
There's not a whole lot of it left.
No, there's not. Most of it burned down, but there was a lighthouse, wasn't there?
There was a lighthouse.
Funny. Doesn't appear on Google Maps, but there it is.
There it is.
A lighthouse in the middle of the desert. Funny thing. Now, Snapper, you see a clear path before you. The gatehouses that control these gates seem to be empty. Perhaps these are now handled by some form of automation these days. Another car arrived mere moments ago, and the gates stood open for exactly 60 seconds after they passed, meaning you've got a safe window through which to enter now. Do you proceed?
Come on. Is this the right... Make a decision. You're here. Go. All right, I'm going.
All right. You managed to make it through the gates, and as you approach the building itself, just barely managing to catch the last door before it closes, you hear someone call out from behind you. Hey, kid. And you turn to see a janitor in an oversized uniform striding up behind you. Hold the door for me, would you?
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Thanks, kiddo. You're my hero. The janitor slips past you and gives a slight wink, mostly hidden beneath her hat.
Huh.
Meanwhile, inside the prison. Inside the prison yard at the heart of Cape Mendocino, where a large guard tower stands, looming over the prisoners and the staff here. We see a bedraggled rat being escorted back to his cell by a pair of guards after a rigorous day of clinical trials. Now tell me, how's old Javi doing these days?
He's been better. He's thinking that maybe he would have been better off not trying to address his addiction issues with the current situation he's in. He was basically approached to participate in a sort of top secret experimentation program where he thought he was going to be able to use his powers for good. But it didn't wind up being like, Xavier's School for the Gifted exactly. So, now he's just every day trying to keep his head down and not get hurt too much while he's in here. Right now he's thinking anything but the tasers again. Anything but the tasers.
Anything but the tasers. The guards here do have them, and they do use them fairly often. It's not a pretty sight. Mercifully, the trials you were subjected to today were on the lighter side. They ran you through the usual array of puzzles you've grown so accustomed to and so sick of. Towers of Hanoi, Lights Out, Sliding Tiles, Memory Match, Knights and Knaves, The River Crossing, Hamiltonian Pass, Pipe Dreams, Mazes, Riddles. Oh, they've been measuring your stress responses. How you act.
It felt like they were building towards something positive at first, but things took a pretty dark turn when they started punishing us for not getting questions right.
Oh, they measure how you react under the threat of punishment for failure, under pain and duress, under the influence of all manner of pharmaceuticals and psychoactive compounds. How
exactly what he's been trying to get off of.
Clean. Exactly.
Yeah, so he's been in a dark place. He's been helping Sandals with his investigations, but that's been self-serving because ever since Javier saw the inside of the lighthouse for the first time, he's been a bit obsessed with trying to see the other side. So anything he can do to catch a glimpse of it is like a rush for him. And anything he can do to pull that off, that's been his vice. And so he's been sacrificing contact with friends. This has been his priority. And, it's led him to some pretty dark places.
And you do feel closer to that now that you're here. With all the trauma they've been subjecting you to, you feel moments where you can glimpse the other side once more. Where you can touch it.
The only bit of solace, that's one slight silver lining, is that as fucked up as this situation is, Javier has some confidence that he might be better at this than anyone else.
That's good. That's at least something good to come out of this. Thankfully, today seemed like a control day. It might have just been saline they pumped you full of for all you know. You feel fine for the most part. Maybe a bit irritable, but otherwise fine. Well, all that's about to change. You feel the guards loosen their grip on you as they spot someone approaching through the yard. The 6'6" rooster makes a motion for them to scram. And believe it or not, they do. He must think himself a real cock of the walk to command that sort of authority here. You recognize him. Mickey Moorcock, one of the higher-ups of the Redeemers.
He can't keep getting away with this. He can't keep getting away with this.
Not the cum gutter viewers.
He's got fresh ink since the last time you've seen him. And the mark of the Redeemers, those eyes are upon him. He looks down at you after the guards have amscrayed for the time being, and he says, "Well, if it ain't my favorite little lab rat, how's it hanging, Javier?"
Oh,
God. I just look at him and I just don't even respond. I'm not going to honor that with a response.
He's happy to talk in your place, as it turns out, and he says, "You got any offerings for the collection plate today, little buddy?"
No, of course not.
He reaches down and grabs your finger between two of his, and he says, "Well, normally we just start with the tip. After people feel the spiritual weight of their attachments lifting, folks get real charitable with what they're ready to offer after that."
I think since it's our first, how do I roll on combat? This is our first time doing this.
So, let's just make this a fighting roll.
Well, I do want to use that one item I have.
Ooh, yes. So we'll make a fighting roll, and if it hits, you will do the damage of your one item on the gear tab.
Well, let's see. Gear tab.
I have to change his name to Lescock.
Oh no.
Oh, I said I do not have a selected target for my check. Do I want to proceed? Am I doing that correctly?
That's fine. All right. Now it shows you what you need to roll. You have a 45, so you got to roll a 45 or under to hit him.
Okay, and this is just /roll, or?
You can actually click the fighting button in chat there,
Oh.
and then it'll do it for you. And it'll tell you if you succeeded. I don't even have to do math. That's a hard success. That means even if he is hard to hit, that'll still hit him. And you cut this man. Go ahead and hit roll damage.
So for viewers who are unaware of the system, what is a hard success? Maybe we should loop them in a little bit about the way rolls work in this game.
If you roll under your amount there, that's a success. If you roll under half, that's a hard success. So if it's something that would be difficult to do, hard to do, then you would still succeed at it. And it looks like your damage roll is going to be a D4. So let's hit that button. All right, you managed to do 2 damage to him, and this is a very low HP system, so that's a substantial amount.
So I'm gonna clarify what I was trying to, with the hard success. I'm gonna clarify what I was aiming for here. So
Yeah, tell me.
I'm not trying to murder him, but I had a shiv in my possession. It was a toothbrush sharpened into a blade, and I stabbed him. I don't have a death wish here, right? But I know this is a pretty fucked up situation. So I intentionally stab him very close next to his freshly tattooed eye, and I tell him, "You leave me alone, and I'm not gonna get rid of your fucking eyes."
Ooh, well, he's already down 1 if you notice the eye patch on him, but I think the other one's pretty load-bearing after that. He staggers away from you, absolutely aghast that you would have the chutzpah to attack him, Mickey Moorcock, Lieutenant of the Redeemers. And he says, I say, boy, I'm getting real sick of your shit.
You do your thing, I do my thing. We're gonna leave it at that. That's how it's gonna be.
You know what? You see, Papa Coyote's getting real sick of your shit too, boy. How's that saying go again? It's easier for a miser to pass through the eye of a needle than to enter heaven's pearly gates. You better not be so stingy next time we come around.
Whatever, fuck off, creep.
Oh, is that how it's gonna be? Well, if you can play hardball with us, maybe we'll have to pay that cute little cellmate of yours a visit next time you're down for testing, huh?
Ooh, now that he said that, I just don't say anything else. I'm like, shit, fuck.
That's more like it. Nice and quiet. Just the way Papa Coyote likes him. And he staggers away, shaken from that encounter, and yelling at the guards he dismissed to bring him a first aid kit.
I just like wipe the blood off the shiv and just hope the guards didn't see it.
You can't just describe his Moorcock's eye as load-bearing.
Oh boy, I can't believe Javi shivved a guy in his first scene.
I can believe it.
Golf claps all around.
Yeah, if he thought Javier was
Perfect
in position
form
to flirt with the first guy he met this time around, that's
The
things are
total
not going to be in the same
inversion.
place.
I mean,
It's like it echoes, it rhymes. You've met another triangular man and had the inverse reaction.
Oh, pour one out for Goose. His life could have been so different if only Javier passed that check.
He did pass the check.
Sure, I mean, just fully wooing him.
It's a fucking potatoes ruined everything.
Yeah, Some shit happened. Some shit went down, but legally Mr. Man ruined everything, so it's okay. So, let's take a look back inside the prison. In
Jet
one
will
of the
remember
cells.
that.
Inside the cell, we see one Binturong on the short side of things, whiling away his free time. His very ample free time that he's been incarcerated here, waiting for his cellmate to get back from trials. Now, why don't you go ahead and describe Dakota for us?
Sure. So Dakota, as you mentioned, is Binturong. Everything about him just kind of screams mischief, but he keeps it pretty cordial. I don't think he's run into anybody that outright hates him at this point. Very good with words, even better with cards. I think that at this point he's like gone through his repertoire of available tricks with the deck that he smuggled in, but he's got a few cards up his sleeve.
Now, do you think he's made himself a little bit of gambling money in here on the inside? You know, Mahjong's real popular, this particular person.
Probably, but not through like actually winning, but more sleight of hand means. No one's got on yet though, so it's going great.
Oh, that's the outcome you want to see in this kind of situation. So he's probably bored out of his skull here right now. But thankfully, he's not going to be alone for much longer. As we turn our camera around and look outside the cell, we see someone come up and knock on the bars. It's your good buddy Ivan. He makes an effort to be everybody's good buddy in here. And somehow, the crafty lynx always seems to have the run of the place, slipping free of captivity to fraternize with the guards and relieve them of a few odds and ends to help lighten their loads. And he says, Dakota, bro! Ivan got you something special today!
Yeah? What's that?
He rolls up his sleeve and shows off a sizable collection of stolen timepieces, unraveling a silver pocket watch that dangles from a chain and passes it through the bars to you. Just like you wanted, eh, bro? Ivan knows better than to ask what you're going to get up to with that. He winks at you.
Dakota just kind of holds it in his paw, looks it over. Like, give me some details. Is this just an older timepiece? Probably family heirloom. It's got "To My Beloved Johnny" engraved on the back.
Oh yeah, it's got this is an old one, probably from like Civil War times or earlier. Whatever was engraved with it has like gently rubbed off over the years, but you can see slight traces. The hinge doesn't like really flip open too well. You kind of have to to get it open and see the actual face of it. But the chain's real nice. That's probably been replaced since then.
I think Dakota just kind of like dangles it like a pendulum by the chain. Just kind of getting a feel for it and just nods like, oh, this is really incredible. Where'd you find something? You know what? I don't really need to know where you found it, but
you sure
really,
don't.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you need, bro? National Geographic, rubbers, road aids. Ivan's always got you, bro.
I think I'm good for now, but I'll hit you up when I got some requests.
Oh, all right. Well, it's been good seeing you, bro. Ivan's got to get a move on before the Redeemers start making their rounds. Don't want to run into Eyeless Mike without an offering, if you know what I mean. Say hello to that funny little rat man for me.
Will do.
Goodbye.
I think that as he leaves, Dakota's just kind of like, just the pocket watch actually works, right?
Oh yeah, it's ticking.
Okay.
It works. It's just the hinge is fucked up.
I think that like at this point he's just kind of picking at it, trying to make sure it's in good working order as best he can with not really having any tools to fix it.
Yeah, this might be a restoration project once you're out of here. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what did you do to land yourself in here behind bars?
Well, you know, who's to say, really? You know, what everyone saw on trial was that somehow I'm responsible for a bunch of people going missing due to a magic trick gone wrong. And, you know, they have video evidence, and, you know, that could be doctored. I know they got it off my phone, but, you know, anyone could have just... Well, the plan was to make an audience disappear. Somehow it worked, but not quite like what Dakota had planned out.
It's getting them back that's the hard part, really.
Come to learn that there are probably some other things out there that may have intervened. Not sure what.
Now, this case has been all over the news the past few weeks. You haven't been in here too long, thankfully, but you're starting to get the feeling this ain't a normal prison. They don't allow visitors here. They don't allow phone calls. Your cellmate, Javier, he keeps getting dragged away for the most torturous of clinical trials. They haven't done any on you yet, but, you know, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I don't... Like, Dakota doesn't really have a frame of reference, but the vibes are rancid.
Oh, absolutely. In general, prisons, not the best vibe
Great.
places, but this one in particular seems pretty rough. Soon you see as your cellmate Javier is walked back here by a pair of guards who have unfortunately discovered and confiscated some contraband he's been holding on to.
So much more vicious when only one eye poking through.
He does. Wow. So
it's fine. He's a cute little guy.
Javier, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to confiscate your shiv.
Yeah, no, there was no way. I knew. It was a calculated risk in that moment. I wasn't expecting it to not get taken away.
But now you're back. You're safe and sound with this bunkmate you've been sharing the room with for almost a month now.
Does Javi have red on him?
Do you have rooster blood on you?
Yeah,
I'd say that's like probably a good slice through that freshly painted eye.
Yeah, he's gonna notice some like on the side of my thigh or whatever, on the side of my pants.
Oh shit, dude, what are they doing in those trials? The hell?
I gotta level with you, man. This wasn't a trial. I might have fucked up. Yeah, you know that cocky asshole guy? I kind of stabbed him.
Cocky. Oh, that's not good.
No, yeah, he's gonna be even more pissed off and at us than usual. So, you know, I saw a moment and I took it, hoping he's not gonna fuck with us more. I mean, I got him pretty good. It was kind of cool.
It's probably fine then, right? Go back off?
I mean,
He's afraid of you now.
I would like to think so, but yeah, we're gonna have to watch our backs more than usual. I would apologize for the situation we're in, but I mean, I didn't think I really had a choice. He was probably gonna like cut my finger off or something fucked up, so yeah.
You've been noticing, Dakota, ever since you got here, there seem to be a lot of prisoners missing fingers. Sometimes it's just like the tip, sometimes it's down to the second knuckle, sometimes it's the whole finger. And you're seeing more of them as the days go by.
I need my fingers.
They're very important.
What a one-track mind. How beautiful. I love that kind of focus. There's no morality or ethics in play here. That's not a nice thing to do for someone. I need those, man.
I personally require the use of all of my digits. I don't know about y'all.
Fingers
When
and
Dakota gets
toes.
out of here, he's gonna get right back to his illustrious career as a TikTok magician.
This just has the same vibe as like someone, seeing someone who's been like harmed in an accident being like, I don't know if I could ever handle losing my arm. How would I play League of Legends without it?
I have turned this to like being about me.
Oh, well, once you two have a little chance to relax and to catch up.
Well, relax is a maybe not the
Relative term.
Relative word. You're surprised when a tremor begins to shake through the foundation of the prison, and a buzzer sounds out. And you look to see your cell door starting to slide open on its own. All of them do, in fact.
Oh, what?
All the doors are open. And that's where we're going to take our break.
It's probably nothing.